All right, let's jump right into this explainer and uncover what is honestly a massive civilizational blind spot. We're going to explore why crushing your fitness goals, closing those daily workout rings, and hitting your target heart rates doesn't actually mean you are traveling healthy. For decades now, we've been sold this story that fitness and health are the exact same thing, right? Well, today, using insights from Terence Hughes' The Invisible Epidemic, we're going to completely unpack why that assumption is fundamentally flawed.
I want to start with a question, and I really just want you to let this sit for a second. Can you be cardiovascularly fit if you don't know what the heart cannot do? Most people would immediately say, well, yeah, of course. I train, my resting heart rate is great, my app says I'm in the green zone, and by every metric the fitness industry uses, you'd be absolutely right. But here's the catch. The industry has only ever obsessed over what the heart can do, output, heart rate, endurance. But what the heart cannot do? That question was never on the syllabus. And this invisible gap, this complete lack of focus on our internal mechanics, is probably the most consequential thing that nobody ever noticed.
And this number right here brilliantly illustrates the wild paradox we're living in. $250 billion. That is the global fitness market today, having exploded from pretty much nothing in the 1970s. We have literally never been more monitored, more medicated, or more fitness aware. But, and it's honestly kind of hard to believe, over that exact same period, obesity has more than tripled. Type 2 diabetes has increased fivefold, and the age of diagnosis is plummeting. Cardiovascular disease is still the leading cause of death. We were handed this massive fitness solution, yet we're running in perfect parallel with the problem getting significantly worse.
Let's do a quick reality check on what we think we know. We call this the yes rhythm. Can eating carbs make you fat? Yes. Protein? Yes. Fat? Yes. Okay, could you technically lose weight on a totally absurd diet of just chocolate or alcohol? I mean, mathematically, yes, you could. But think about this last one. Can you feel the burn in a workout and not be burning fat at all? No way, right? Actually, no, you're not burning fat. What you're feeling when you get that intense, painful burn is just local muscle fatigue, lactic acid building up, and glycogen depletion. Fat metabolism? That is a quiet, undramatic process that you literally cannot feel happening. We've been chasing totally the wrong signals.
So here's the absolute kicker. You can do everything the fitness industry tells you to do, sweat through every single session, follow every protocol, buy every single wearable monitor out there, and still remain completely unhealthy. You can be highly active and still have massive underlying health issues simply because nobody told us there was a difference between the two. Nobody told us that fitness is just an external metric of performance, while health is an internal state of systemic function.
And you can trace this massive blind spot all the way back to the very foundation of our medical understanding. Take the 1948 World Health Organization definition of health. It describes a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. I mean, who actually lives there? It's an unmeasurable, static destination that no living human has ever perfectly occupied. It immediately disqualifies everyone. But even worse, it says absolutely nothing about how the body actually functions. Not a single word about circulation, breath, or recovery. This unachievable placeholder is what our entire modern health system is built on.
And it gets worse when you look at the standard definition of cardiovascular fitness, the one every PE teacher and sports coach on Earth learns: the ability of the heart, lungs, and blood vessels to supply oxygen. Sounds super scientific, right? But it only describes a tiny fraction of the system and falsely calls it the whole thing. It is entirely focused on the delivery of oxygen, the output, but it completely ignores the return trip. It completely ignores the journey.
This comparison perfectly highlights the massive blind spot we're dealing with. We measure all the organs of output, but look at what we are completely ignoring. It's actually wild when you think about it. Where is the diaphragm, which is a primary circulatory pump? Where are the soleus and calf muscles that literally drive venous return, pumping blood back up from your legs to your heart? What about the lymphatic system, or the breath patterns that determine if any of this is working right? We've completely ignored the actual journey the blood takes, choosing instead to only focus on the engine's RPM.
And let's revisit that phrase, sustained physical activity, from the fitness definition. Think about the complete absurdity of comparing walking to the fridge with running a 4-hour marathon. Both of those entirely opposite physiological demands technically meet the definition of sustained physical activity. When a definition lumps those two extremes together without distinguishing between them, is it really a definition at all? It sounds technical, sure, but it tells us absolutely nothing about how to actually travel healthy through those activities.
Or how about the baseline definition of aerobics taught to every single fitness professional? Exercises that increase heart rate and breathing. That is it.
It totally fails to mention what type of breathing is happening. Are we talking about a functional breathing pattern or a completely dysfunctional one? It fails to mention what happens to your circulatory system during the transitions or what your recovery mechanics even look like.
There's a quote that just beautifully exposes how deeply flawed this obsession with the destination of an elevated heart rate is. It goes, mouth breathing at maximum heart rate on a treadmill for 40 minutes meets this definition. And so does panic. If your only goal is to jack up your heart rate and breathe faster, you are completely ignoring the actual biological journey happening inside your body. Panic is obviously not health, but under our current definitions, it technically counts as aerobics.
Which brings us to the absolute extremes of modern fitness. Let's talk about HIIT, high-intensity interval training. This protocol was originally developed for elite Japanese speed skaters, right? But then it just got handed out to the general public as the ultimate, most efficient cardio available. We're taking deconditioned people with totally unexamined cardiovascular health and repeatedly driving their nervous systems into maximum overdrive. We push them to absolute failure with barely any time to recover.
But here is the truly terrifying reality about protocols like HIIT that nobody really talks about. The most dangerous moment? It isn't actually the physical effort itself. It is the space between the steps. It's the transition, the sudden stop. It's the exact moment your system has to violently shift from maximum output to recovery without any governance mechanism, without any instructed breath protocol, and with zero understanding of what the circulatory system needs to do to handle that safely. Cardiac events happen in the transitions, and nobody told anyone that.
So I gotta ask you directly. Think back through all your years of physical education, playing sports or following various fitness influencers. Did anyone ever stop to ask you this fundamental question about your internal journey? Do you actually know how the blood returns to your heart? Because the heart cannot pull it back up from your feet on its own. It relies on your muscles, your diaphragm, and your movement. If no one ever taught us this, it means our entire physical education was completely unfinished.
Actually, ask yourself this right now, just sitting here watching this explainer. Not exercising, just existing. Are you breathing through your nose or your mouth? Habitual mouth breathing dramatically changes your systemic circulation. It fundamentally changes how your body functions at rest, yet learning the vital difference between nasal and mouth breathing was somehow never on the syllabus of public health recommendations.
Ultimately, did any doctor or sports coach or fitness app ever sit you down to explicitly explain the difference between being fit and being healthy? Did they ever explain that you can be incredibly fit but fundamentally unhealthy? Or that you can be healthy without hitting elite fitness metrics? And most importantly, did they ever mention that you could be both simultaneously, or sadly, neither?
This isn't just some theoretical debate, right? The cost of this silence is incredibly real, and the data in hospitals proves it. We are seeing rising rates of cardiovascular disease in younger and younger populations. We're seeing fit people dying suddenly. We're seeing highly active people who do everything the industry tells them to do, yet they remain deeply unhealthy and can't figure out why they feel so terrible. We are stuck in a reactive medical model that only treats the failing organ rather than the entire delivery system.
So the overarching theme here, the absolutely crucial thing to remember from this explainer is that it's not the destination, it is the journey. We have to fundamentally shift our mindset away from treating fitness as this static destination to be reached, like a target heart rate or checking off a daily exercise ring. Instead, we have to make sure we understand the vital internal principles of traveling healthy. It is about how your systems operate continuously all day, not just for the 40 minutes you're sweating in a gym.
The really good news? These principles of traveling healthy aren't complicated at all. They don't require you to buy into a $250 billion industry's equipment or memberships. They just require you to integrate some basic biological knowledge into your life. Understand what the heart cannot do. Support your venous return by actually using your soleus and calf muscles. Establish functional nasal breathing patterns all day long. Respect and prioritize the transitions and your recovery. And just move your body in all directions without staring at a screen or a target.
This is knowledge that integrates with literally everything you do, in health, in illness, in injury, across your entire life. It was always there. It just wasn't in the room when we were being taught how to exercise. So I want to leave you with this final thought. If this knowledge was available, would you want it? Because the conversation that should have started 50 years ago starts right now, with you. The invisible epidemic only stays invisible if we refuse to look. Go read, go listen, and start paying attention to the journey inside your own body. Because the journey that follows and the health that comes with it can only be yours.